inspire and empower women to lead. I'm your host, Kennedy Taylor, cybersecurity queen, foodie, and Miss Maryland 2023. Let's get to the episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ladies Lead podcast. I'm here in Annapolis, Maryland with the owner of Fount Flourish, Bailey Feldman. Hi, Bailey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, thank you for joining us today. So where are you from?
I am from South Florida. So I am from Delray Beach. I'm a Florida girl. So this weather today, it's nice and warm, is my jam.
It's a little too hot and humid for me. And when did you move to Annapolis?
So I've been in Annapolis for about 12 years now. I came here after grad school, working in D.C., and then met my husband and had my family here. And so we're pretty set in Annapolis.
Nice. And you live downtown, which is incredible.
Yes, it's very nice. Yeah. We can just walk around and pop into restaurants, and the girls treat downtown like their neighborhood. So
good. Yeah. So how did you get here? How did you open Fount Flourish? And maybe tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior.
Yeah. So I have done a few different things. I've worked in the nonprofit world for about 6 years, and I was focused on gathering people from around the world. And we did a lot of different events. We did some leadership programming. And then I decided that I didn't love how nonprofits were run. And I got recruited to kind of consult for federal government, consult for nonprofits, consult for private industry. And similar thing, consulting is really management consulting. A lot of what I did was just help people have more efficient and effective meetings and get to an outcome more strategically. And so I loved gathering people. I loved working in the federal government, but I worked with a lot of men. And I was actually having my second baby when I started doing consulting work. And I was one of the first people in a really long time to have a baby at my firm. And then after I had my baby, a lot more women did. And so I was actually spending a lot of time working with women and how do you create this work life? I'm not going to say balance because I hate that, but how do you kind of create this environment that helps you and your family thrive when you want to be a full-time working parent? And so the pandemic hit and I saw women leave the workforce. I saw women kind of lose their village. And then I just decided that I wanted to spend my time creating space for women to kind of grow and excel and thrive, no matter where they were in life. And so that's kind of when Fount and Flourish was born. And our mission is to create intentional space and interactions that deeply connect women to each other and to their most full selves. So no matter where you are on your journey of being a woman in the world, we want to create this infrastructure of support. So that we can kind of come back together and rely on each other and care for each other.
I love that so much. And you're preaching to the choir here. I work in consulting now, and you're right, not a lot of women.
Yeah.
But I've noticed our office now has nursing rooms, and it's very different than it was when I first started my career.
Yeah.
So tell us about what makes this area different for women. It is a co-working space, correct?
So we kind of refer to it as a social community and a lounge. So co-working was never my intention to lead with. I really wanted to kind of create a community space. Physical space was important. I wanted women to have a safe third space that belonged to them and that was designed and created for them. Yeah, offices, you said, there's more nursing and motherhood rooms. But if you think about most of the spaces, a lot of them are designed for a working white man. And so we're getting better, but there's not a lot of spaces that are created just for women. And so physical space was always really important. We started as a floating social community. So we went to women-owned businesses for all of our events. But I knew that having a home base was really important. So I found this space and it was kind of a really great size to experiment with. So I call ourselves Social Community and Lounge. So we have programming and events for our members, but we also have the physical space. So we do a lot of events here. And if you want to come once a week, twice a week, 3 or 4 times a week, the space is kind of yours and available to you. We have a lot of women who come in and work. My dream is to kind of have more spaces and larger spaces that even if you don't work full time or at all, you can still come and read a book. You can do some art. You can take a wellness class. So we're going to hopefully grow into more of a community center for women.
Oh, I love that. Have you seen Sweet Magnolias? I have to ask.
I have.
No, this definitely reminds me of that. They created a similar concept, and it was certainly a hit amongst all the women.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I never thought about that connection. I'm I'll watch it.
Yeah, no, amazing. So where do you see this going in the next 5 years?
Yeah, great question. Been thinking about that a lot. So again, the whole hope of Fountain Flourish is all about creating space. It's about women feeling safe, and it's also about women feeling like they can have the freedom to have the space and claim the space. And I think that's, both something that like women need to work on, being like, yes, I can do this for myself. And it's also something that I hope we kind of push the world to accept more of. I think women on my website is like, I truly believe women power communities, they power workplaces. And so I want to just continue to create programming and create spaces over the next 5 years that change the behavior women have for what they can or can't do and how they're able to like use their time and feel a little bit more freedom to kind of claim the space that we make available. And then I also want to continue to grow in a way that we push companies, we push families, we push communities to kind of make more space that like ideally Fount Flourish like doesn't need to exist. That's not a 5-year goal, but I'd say like 10, 15 years down the road, I really wish that I didn't like the space is just there. Someone doesn't have to necessarily like have a business around it. So that looks like, in reality, what that looks like is more spaces. I'd like to kind of connect a little bit more of the DMV with Fount Lounges as we grow. And just like have some more pods around. And then I would like to, like I said, a community center, I'd like to have a bigger space that was a little bit more open and accessible for women to just like pop in for 2 hours and not necessarily feel like here, we're really set up as a co-working space during the day because that's what we're used for a lot. But I want to have something that has a little bit more maybe childcare, maybe again, like an art room, a creator room, wellness space, meditation space, just a few more nooks. So more people are like, that space is for me.
Absolutely. You're literally bridging the gap to allow women to feel more comfortable in their work life, their personal life, all of the above. So
that's the hope.
And how did you land on the name?
Fount Flourish is a great question. So I think it's actually been really cool. I came up with the name after talking to a lot of different friends and thinking about like words that I think described what I really wanted to do. And we've actually grown into the name more over the past year. But fount is a source. Like think of a fountain, think of the well, this place where you can come and gather and get nourishment. So when I talk about programming and I talk about us coming together, I want to create a safe space where women can come and be nourished, like nourish the mind, body, and the soul. So fount is the source. It's the spaces that we gather. And flourish is like think vigorous development and growth. And that's what I think about when we create the programming. So fount is the space and flourish is how we like fuel those spaces.
That's amazing. It's perfect. And speaking of your programming, I've seen that you've partnered with a lot of local businesses, whether it be, wellness, local studio, or if it's a brand or something. So can you tell us a little bit about how you chose to partner with those specific companies and what they bring to you?
Yeah, I think when we first started, we started as a social community. So we had like 4 events every month and we would be floating and popping around to different places. And it was always really important to me as I grew my business to support other locally women-owned businesses in the area. And so our first year, we claimed we were always led, fed, or hosted by women. And I think it's been a really big it was something that I didn't expect. When I was starting the business, I had like this vision for what I was hoping to do. I didn't realize like how many amazing, incredible women had their own businesses in the area that I just like didn't know about. And so that has been really unexpected. And it's been a really wonderful thing to be able to partner with all these women and find ways that we can promote each other as we kind of grow. This thought of like building this chain as we move forward, and we're going to kind of move forward together. So I've become really good friends with a lot of like women who own their own business, who own their own business with their husband in the area. We worked with 35 women-owned businesses in our first year, which is really cool. Everything, from the people who made our cheese boards to leading our sound baths. And then that actually led to creating a women in business directory on our website. And that's something that I'm currently working on, like how to expand that. There's really no primary source to like figure out like who are the amazing women in Annapolis and like what do they do. And so that's kind of what I want to expand, a directory of businesses and experts in the area that you can kind of come and type in wellness, type in yoga, type in finance and find your person. And then a really cool thing that we did in March was we actually turned that directory into a women in business passport. So the month of March for Women's History Month, we created little passport booklets and you could go around and kind of get a stamp at Curate, if you could grab a coffee. You went to Kupla and bought some clothing. You went to Leo for dinner. And then we created a local designer, Darren from Heart Farm, created this like support your local girl gang shirt. So if you got 15 stamps, you got a t-shirt. So it was just kind of a really cool way to collaborate and work with some amazing women around here. So
absolutely, yeah. That's one thing I noticed moving to Anne Arundel County. There are a lot of female entrepreneurs. It's empowering. It's inspiring.
Yeah. And it's smart to know. I feel like listening to some of the other podcasts that you've been doing so far, there's this theme of like staying focused, like staying not in your lane in a negative way, but like staying focused and doing the thing that you want to do, that you do best. And we'll talk about like, I am about gathering. I'm about creating a space, about bringing women together in the community together. And I don't need to be the expert who like fills that space. Like there's enough women out there. So I want to stay connected to like, I want to do a panel on financial freedom. Like how do I pull women into that who know that rather than me attempting to lead all of the program?
Right. And we could all work together in order to build this incredible event with everyone's expertise. Okay. Talk to us a bit about having a husband and having a family while in this, woman-owned space, women-run space. How do you feel like your husband can contribute to it?
Yeah,
all husbands really.
So I know I'm pretty lucky. My husband's actually, not actually, of course he's wonderful. I married him. My husband is incredible. He's been a partner since the beginning. He's been a partner since we got married. And he and I are pretty equal on raising our family. I was working full time in a consulting career, that could be 40, 50-hour weeks. While we had 3 children. So I have 3 little girls. They're 6, 4, and 2. So we're in it. They're my little girl gang. Like I'm my own little girl gang. And they're a big reason of why I'm doing what I do. But not only while I was working and consulting, my husband is a high school math teacher. But he's always been such an active participant, and we just do it all together. And that's been the reason I had my career and was able to grow my career. It's the reason I was able to leave and try this and experiment this. I mean, he will come and set up a space and move things around. He'll look over the books and finances. He'll do the pickups and the drop-offs. So he's been really wonderful to kind of share in the responsibilities. And he gives me the space to kind of come and do the things that also fill my cup. And I think that just sets a great example for men all over, it's not just about letting me create my own business, but he also gives me a lot of space to make sure that I have what I need to be the best mom I can be, to run a business and to be a human. So he is incredible. And my girls, obviously I'm this is creating a world that I hope for them. This is part of me, this is a small thing that I can do. I think I had this realization that if I wasn't doing this, if I wasn't creating this space, if I wasn't investing my time, energy, and skills into doing it, who did I expect to do it? And so I often just think about how I can continue to grow this and then also meet them as they get older. I mean, my 10-year plan, it would be a dream to have a teen lounge for girls, just to kind of be able to work way back and kind of create and prioritize these spaces for younger girls too.
And thinking about being a teen in middle school, high school, I do remember struggling with boys, just not always feeling accepted, sometimes getting bullied. So that teen lounge may give them the space that they need to be successful and really flourish. Yeah. Oh, special.
Thank you.
Do your kids understand exactly what you're doing here yet? They're pretty young.
No. A bit. They will talk about The Office. They've come and seen some events going on. They know and understand and love this space. I don't know if they fully get it. They love coming to The Office because we have a room over here, and they know if they're coming for an event, they'll usually be able to watch a movie while I do so. So I think that's what they're when you go to The Office and have popcorn to watch a movie. So that's probably the most that they understand.
Working is fun.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the cutest.
Yeah. But I'm home. I think they see that. Beforehand, some days I would leave before they woke up, and I'd get home right before or even right after they went to bed. Mm-hmm. So they might not fully understand what this is, but they do get to see me more.
Good. I'm glad this is giving you the time that you need with them. Yeah. Tell us about your branding. And I'm in here right now. I see you have gorgeous decorations. There are lots of disco balls. So how did you land upon this branding?
The disco balls went up for a party, and we just never took them down.
Really?
Because they're really fun. In the morning, they make the whole place kind of sparkle a bit. So the branding. So when I got started, I don't know if you've ever done like some values assessments, but one of my top values is beauty and excellence. And I love things that look beautiful. I also think when you're creating space for women, like I want them to smell beautiful and look beautiful and feel comfortable. You know, I often say I want you to walk in, I just want your shoulders to drop because like you feel good and you feel safe and you feel restful. Like you can just be calm. So when I was thinking about this space, I was thinking about branding, but I also do love bright colors. And fun. So a lot of our branding is built off of pink and green. It's built off of this kind of like vintage Florida vibe. I think that when I think Florida, it's like a really cool representation of this place that's like refined, but also like kind of wild. I think of like old school Palm Beach. And so there's like a lot of that in the space. Our logo is like this beautiful woman's like lower half and then like foliage kind of growing, you know, she's like growing, and this thought of like we could be refined and wild at the same time. We're always growing and evolving, so that's been a really fun thing to build out the brand. And really cool, we had someone teach a chakras workshop in here. Which was really neat, and it was all about your body and empowering yourself. But she told me that pink and green mean they're related to the heart chakra, so they mean love for self and love for others, which is kind of like come take care of yourself and connect with others. So I just thought that was kind of meant to be.
Oh, I love that.
But I love it, right?
Good. Did you come up with that yourself? Or did you build your logo yourself? Even your website. The website's very nice.
I did. I bootstrapped, man. I did a lot of Googling and learned a lot of things about Squarespace and code and took some classes and workshops.
Squarespace is the best.
Squarespace is the best. Yeah, Squarespace is the best. So I did a lot of work on it. I hired some help with my logo. And for the space, one of our members is interior designer. And so she always was coming in and helping me look at things differently or sending me some different products. And I just recently hired someone to not rebrand, but like refine and clean up the brand to make sure I'm like 508 compliant. And, you know, I'm not a website designer, so I bootstrapped it, but now I really want, in order to scale and to grow, I want an expert to come in and just make sure that like my brand can sustain the next 5 years. And so I'm really excited about that because I love my website, but it doesn't flow as much as I want it to flow. Like I did a lot of customer experience work in consulting. And so I think of the Fount, that's why I talk about the female experience. I think of like, what is it like to engage the second that you find us online all the way to like coming into an event or using this space. And so, customer experience and like user experience on the website is really important to me, and I think I've got it as far as I can take it.
Yeah, that's one of the many values you bring from your past career.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you found particularly helpful from your consulting career?
Yeah, I've learned a lot about just like behavior change. You know, we worked with culture and we worked with, you know, strategy development with I'm trying to not sound consulty.
No, sound consulting. You're speaking my language.
But you know, so what I love about my old job is we really talked about kind of like how do you come in and how do you promote a culture, how do you promote behaviors in an organization. And I often think about that with a space. My degree is actually, and my undergrad is environmental and sustainability studies.
Oh, cool.
And it's also about like behavior change. So all of these careers have helped me understand like what is the best way to bring a whole bunch of different people together. And then when they're in that space, like how do you create intentional space that change could come from it? How do you look at what motivates people, what barriers to different behaviors or actions that someone might have, and then how do you kind of create systems and structures in place to, reduce that one thing and increase this other thing. And so whether it's sustainability, whether it's international, like nonprofits, whether it's consulting, which has kind of been this like career journey, it really is just about understanding people and using the space that you have with them to kind of make things happen.
Wow. And everything you learned helped you start a business.
Yeah. Yes. And I had to unlearn a lot of things too, like just starting a business, it lets you see like all the way down to the nitty gritty of it. So
do you think there's more for you to learn?
There's so much more for me to learn. I pretty much am learning all the time. I feel like my mind is about to explode. Um, but yeah, I think there is a lot to learn. I think that's a really exciting thing about business. I think I am a lifelong learner. I love to grow. I love to evolve. I also do coaching and consulting for women in starting businesses underneath the umbrella of the Fount. That's something that I love to do. So I'm always trying to read. I'm always like assessing the programs that we do. I love feedback and hearing from people. I'm trying to create something that people want. So I want to know how they felt while they were here, and how they experienced different things. So I feel like I'm just learning a lot because I mess up and fail a lot, but I'm also learning a lot because I'm continuing to seek that information because this is important to me. And so, yeah, I don't think there'll ever not be something to learn.
I'm sure.
So it's crazy.
Do you think requesting feedback is a useful tool for all women business owners?
Yeah. If you met with me or if you've been in any meeting with me from like consulting or coaching, I'll like say feedback is love. And I think it's important to understand that a lot of time feedback can be delivered in a way that's not coming from a place of someone wanting you to be better. And that feedback you have to like kind of be able to process and pull out what's the most important. But feedback is really important. I think you want to hear from other people. You need to learn about different perspectives. You need to see how someone saw you. And that doesn't mean that you have to change. It just means that you have to like take some time and understand and process what that might mean for like how you move forward. Life is really fast right now. And so I think taking some time to sit with how you make other people feel, how people experience you or your business, you personally is really important. There's always something to learn and there's always something new to try out. So
I'm with you. I think feedback is extremely helpful. I don't view it as critique at all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, give me all you got,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For that feedback.
Yeah, it helps me because sometimes you go move forward and you just don't know. You don't know that you might be doing something wrong or making someone feel weird or that link might be broken on your website. I'm like, tell me.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that happened to me recently.
I'll go good.
Can you tell us a little bit about this location? You're in a prime location right off of West Street. So how did you get here?
So nice. It's, we love the space. So we were looking, again, for a long time, I was looking for a much larger space. I was going to like jump into this like larger community center structure. And it was just hard to think through the numbers and like made me really nervous. Again, we're bootstrapping the whole business financially, and design, like a lot of things for me getting it started. And so we were looking at a lot of bigger spaces and just like nothing was really speaking to me. And so my local agent was like, come downtown, because I always want to be downtown. And we walked into this space and it was this like dark blue old office space. And I never thought like I'm looking for office space, but I walked in and it's got the vaulted ceilings. It's like this perfect size to experiment in. And like, I knew I wanted to give it a try. And I knew in this space that if everything failed, I could pay for the space for a year. And that was like one of the big things, like I was willing to give it a try. I was willing to take a risk. And this was a space that I felt really comfortable to experiment in, even if like nobody ever stepped foot through it. And it was really, I could see it like when I walked in. So, and I love downtown. I can walk here from my house, and it allows me to also engage with a lot of the local like women owned businesses downtown because we're all kind of there's a lot of businesses on this block and the next block that, I wanted to be a part of it all. I want to invest back into Annapolis. I think that's also been really important for my husband and I. Like, we love it here. We're raising our family here. We want to be a part of the community, and I want to be a part of like the business community too.
So the walls were blue, or
they were like a dark blue.
Interesting.
It was a very interesting choice. It had been a pretty quiet office. No one was here in that office. Yeah, but they were like a dark navy blue, and I was like, okay.
Weird.
You would have never known this space could be so bright and light.
Yeah, it is very bright. It's the first thing I noticed when I came here.
So.
Good. And how do you measure success? Is it about the number of people that you have signed up for memberships?
There's like two ways to measure success. There's definitely like the metrics piece of it that I think is like how many people come in and out the door, how many people come to an event, how many like women do I partner with, how many memberships do I have from co-working to social memberships, which is all really important. Like you can't have a business without having money and revenue. Like you should be building a business with the goal to have a profit so you continue to grow, bring more people in. But I think for me, in all honesty, like it's really about, especially in this first year that's keeping me motivated, like it's about how women feel when they leave. Like I want women to leave feeling good, feeling empowered, feeling connected. So for my husband and other people listening, because I've been in a lot of like business development programs, like yes, there's metrics, but it really is how people feel when they leave.
Do you find that marketing helps you with your metrics?
Marketing's a place I'm not great at. So I think from like a brand and social media, it's something that like I keep up and I do enough with. I am not utilizing like analytics from like a marketing like tracking perspective as much as I should be right now. I think a lot of times people come into this space and they didn't know that I exist, or they're like, some women are like, oh, I don't work, so I can't be a part of your social membership, or that they didn't realize it was for them. So I think that marketing is actually one of my like biggest gaps right now. Like, how do I make sure to tell my story well? And that's part of the rebrand as well. Like I love my website, but I want to make sure I'm telling the story well so that people can see themselves here. Because I think marketing is really powerful. I think that does help with metrics. I think that helps with metrics, both with numbers and how people feel. And it's something I haven't tapped into enough. And it's where a lot of my priorities are in the next quarter.
Ooh, good. I'm excited to watch and stay tuned. So talk to us about your first 30 days. How did you get people in the door?
My first 30 days, that's a super stressful thing back in the day. No, you're fine. Okay, so I'll talk. It's hard because there's been a few first 30 days. And I think that's probably pretty common for a lot of businesses. There was like this first 30 days when I decided I was going to get it started. I like started my LLC. I went part-time on my job. And I was like, I'm going to invest my time and energy in like research and understanding. So there was that like first 30 days. And then the first 30 days when I actually was like left my job full-time. And I came back and I was like, oh, I'm doing it. Like, because it wasn't working and I wasn't giving it the time and the energy that I want. And in all honesty, I was like, if I turn 35 and I haven't felt like I gave this a full shot, I was like going to be really disappointed in myself. So January 2023 is when we really like pushed it forward. So a lot of it was, I pulled a lot of women who I trust and value their opinions together. And we had a bunch of really cool conversations, like creating these personas for like, who is this for? Like, who are the customers? Who are my people? Helping them get just reactions. So I've been doing a lot of like heads down building. And I think that was really important to just get that feedback, get that perspective, like have people bring this thing to life. And then we really launched in March. So I'm not answering your question at all.
No.
I'm talking about lots of different things that will help that. So there's like the 30 days of, like I said, the research, head down. And then there was like, okay, when I was really ready to like have the world see it, like I was getting a lot of that feedback. It was breathing life into what this could really look like. And then it was like opening it up to the world. And so it was really cool because that group helped me develop a really powerful first 30 days. So March 2023, we decided to like launch during Women's History Month. So March 1st we launched, which I like so thankful. Yeah, I'm so thankful for, because now I get to like launch and kick off Women's History Month every single year, and so many cool things happen along that date. So we launched and we had 4 events in the month of March. And we had a lot of really cool partners. Everything was, I think we had like a sound bath, we had an art class, we had a journaling and mindfulness workshop, and then we had our launch party. So we just like dove into like getting women excited about coming along. And that was super energizing. I think the other parts were kind of scary. Getting there was really scary, but I felt good enough by the time we did that there was just so much energy and excitement around getting people in the door and living it. It was really fun.
Good. And how did you decide on your products? Like you have a membership, but I saw you also have something for people to just drop in as well.
Yeah.
So how did you decide on these options?
That it's evolved. I often call this like a really big experiment. I'm a consultant, man. I'm used to the pivot. I love to pivot. I love to like evolve and grow. That's why I love to learn. That's why I absorb a lot of feedback. And so the Fount is like, you looked at our journey. It's been like this, we've gone up and down and sideways because we're building the plane while we fly it. We're trying a lot of different things out. We're seeing what kind of like sticks to the wall. So I started out knowing that I wanted to have like a social membership. That is like the bread and butter. That is the heart of what we do. It is for any and all women. We have women in their 20s to their 60s, and we do all types of programming. Like that is the bread and butter. That is like the heart of the Fount. And then we have this physical space. So when we opened the doors of the physical space in September was when we were like, how do we give people more access to it? So then our co-working memberships kind of grew from there. We're going to do some small business and corporate memberships coming up in the next quarter, because that's been something that like a lot of people have been looking for, and we're going to have small business programming kind of specifically. So that's going to be something new that we're adding. So it's just been kind of like, what do we have in front of us? What do we want to do? So the social membership will stay the same. We have the space, and that grew in. And then I do a lot of like, honestly, with partnerships, like I just get excited and I have a great conversation with a woman and we build a program from it, or we create an offering from it. Like I met a good friend who's now a good friend, and we started talking about this coaching program, and it was a coaching day, and we turned into a 12-week group program. So all of our offerings kind of stem from areas of like collaboration and energy and exciting and resources. Oh, this is what we have available to us. Like, what can we do to get people in the door?
Very cool.
Yeah. So who knows? You can ask me that in a year and it might look different. But again, I think the heart of our social and our community memberships that are around like getting together and being in the space will be consistent.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the idea for the corporate memberships, especially because a lot of businesses don't have offices anymore, right?
Yeah.
This could be an option for those people.
Yeah. And something really cool, we just recently, I feel like a lot of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs use we all the time. I recently was connected to this really cool network of women they're all women owned female focused spaces around the US.
Oh, cool.
So we're all individually owned. We actually I was in New York City with all of them, and we had this really cool workshop. Some of them have like, they're all co-working spaces, but their program might be different. Some might be like really business focused. Some might be wellness focused. Some might be just more around events and gathering. And they're all over the United States and 3 internationally. And so all my co-working members actually get access up to 2 days a month in any of those spaces.
Wow.
So it's this really cool way to show like collaboration and showing this like thought of abundance in action of like, hey, we all have these beautiful spaces. We have this really wonderful community of women. Like, let's share it. So I get a lot of knowledge and information, and I get to know 35 other women who are in a really similar place as I am. And then all my members can go to Nashville, to Charlotte, to Chicago, to San Francisco, and have access to these communities as well. And so that's also been a really fun thing to kind of be able to grow and be able to offer to like businesses or corporations who don't have offices and also travel.
Right. So that's amazing for your members. Thinking about how many WeWork offices I've rented over the years. It'd be great if I had a female space, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So we are nearing the end, but I do want to know, since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, how do you focus on your mental health as a female entrepreneur?
Should have seen that one coming. Sorry. No. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I actually didn't know that. So fun fact. May is also my birthday. So I think I really live into, mental health and wellness. I'm about creating space for women. I'm about making sure women take that space and give themselves permission. And it's something that I've created not because I lacked it, but because I feel like I've always been striving to have that for myself as well. So I love sunshine. I'm a Floridian at heart. So I do try to make sure that I carve out time for me to just sit back and read a good book or be outside with my kids in like an unprogrammed day. I definitely like treat myself a little bit more in May because it's my birthday.
As you should.
So I'm like, go get a massage. But I think it's really important to get outside, and it's really important to kind of take a minute between these different like spaces in your life to like breathe and go into the next one. Like so often there's just so much transition costs from activities and events during the day, but also from like work to home to community, and just like taking a minute to like gather yourself, even if you don't have time to go to the spa. Like I walk home now and I'm like, that 5 minutes just like helps me disconnect from here, so that I can like re-enter in this new space. Whether you pray or meditate, just like also finding this moment to like take a second, and just like prepare yourself to like move out of one thing and into something else. It sounds really basic. It requires very little like time and money. But it's definitely like an important habit if you do want that.
I'm with you, and I love getting outdoors.
Yeah.
I think it helps a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. The cold, man, has been really hard on me, so I'm welcoming this.
Well, go ahead and leave us with any feedback you'd like. Not feedback. Yeah. What advice would you give for other women entrepreneurs, maybe that want to open a similar space or just want to create a business that they think fuels them?
Yeah. I think that my like biggest form of advice is like two different things. I think like internally, like I have my little bracelet that says keep going. And I look at it like all the time. And it's the thought of it's not like push through. That's not my recommendation, but it's the thought of things are going to be hard. Things are going to feel wonky and wacky and get messy. It's the same thing I tell a lot of my coaching clients. Like, it's usually messy before it gets better. And you just got to keep going. You just got to keep fueling yourself. You just got to keep pushing through, be okay with failure, and just like take little steps moving forward. That's like what I tell myself a lot. Just like keep going, and moving forward. And then I think just like in general, Fount Flourish is me. I started the business, but like it wouldn't be possible if I didn't have my community of women behind me. Like, have your partners, have your people, your advocates, your advisors. I have a group of 9 women on my board, and they like help fuel me and they help fuel the space. And even though you're a solo entrepreneur or you feel like a one-man team, like they don't have to be employees. Like, find your people and like let them in so that they can help you along.
I needed that. How can we follow you and support you?
You can follow me at the Fount_co. That's our social media handle. And then if you go to fountainflourish.com, you can jump onto our newsletter. We send our newsletter out every other week. Just kind of like little stories, but also membership happenings and events. So we have a lot of events that are open to the public that aren't just members only. And so kind of following along, you'll get a lot of that information and kind of be able to see the community a little bit. Or just like come in and have a tour or coffee with me. Most people just come in and I love to chat. I get to know all of my members. So I want to know who they are and what they care about and what they need the space for so that we can kind of make the community really cater to them. So come in.
Well, thank you again for your time today. We'll see you soon.